I've always considered South Park to be one of the greatest adult animated shows of all time. Compared to Family Guy or The Simpsons, I always felt like if I was going to have a steak prepared, I would choose the South Park creators. They would probably slap that thing, you know, shoot some love on it, do a little bit of something to make it actually taste good and consistent every single time. Which is why it makes sense that if somebody from a foreign country who didn't really have any adult animated shows would come over here, you know, they're sitting in their hotel, they're just, you know, clicking through the channels, and they see South Park, and they look at Cartman's big face, and they're like, oh, Eric Cartman, no, 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 that is Abdul Hamoud. Yeah, and that's basically how Block 13 was made, an Arabic version of South Park that originated in Kuwait, which is supposedly insanely popular over there. They really like it. It ran for 3 years every year during Ramadan, and everybody seemed to like it, but was it actually good, or was it just all they had? That is an interesting question to pose to me as a cartoon reviewer as I scour the entire planet for every single cartoon ever made. I'm thoroughly excited to see, was Block 13 just slop, or was it actually good and a good ripoff of South Park? And if you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe because I upload every single day and you don't want to miss it. Now let's finally take a look at Block 13. The very first thing that I'm going to be taking a look at is the pilot, because I really want to know how they pitched the show, and if whatever, you know, producer they had over there was just watching this and thought that it was brilliant and deserved an entire season. The pilot is only about 1 minute and 30 seconds long, and yeah, I guess it just explains everything you could possibly need about what this show is going to be. It's literally just their version of Cartman, who is named Aboud, I think, and he's just sipping on some juice, just horking it down, just the entire pilot, just... you know, just getting down and dirty with it, and all the other kids, they're just like, oh, can I have some juice? Oh, he won't give you juice, he's a fat ass, he's a fat fucking pig, he won't give you any juice!
Don't blame him, the fat ass. He was never full, he only eat and sleep and...
Yeah, that's basically pretty much sums up the entire pilot for you. They just sit there roasting him because he's just suckling down his juice. I don't know why this just is an endless carton of juice because he's just horking it the entire episode. Eventually a bus comes to take them to school, and they get on, and I don't know, I know that they're speaking English, but it sounds like they're trying to fucking, like, I don't know, turn me into a, you know, fanatic cult sacrifice or something. Like, it's just like, oh, we get on the streets in South Park. Like, I don't know why they're saying South Park. I know that the show is trying to be different from South Park, but it genuinely just sounds like they're trying to, like, I don't know, summon a demon inside me, like something's gonna crawl out of my chest, and all of a sudden I'm gonna be transported to South Park, and I'm gonna have, like, a little baby fetus that I have to take care of. I don't know what they're saying here, and then all of a sudden intensive music kicks in, and there's a car coming, and it crashes into the bus.
Kids. And the moment they talked to me, they said, fat ass.
And that's the pilot. So, yeah, that was wonderful and thoroughly enjoyable. I don't know, I can't believe that was enough of a pitch to create a show. I guess when you don't have any other shows like this, then you don't really have anything else to go off of. So hey, fuck it, let's make it. Taking a look at episode 1, which is Cheat Sheet, I just have to highlight the absolute symphony, the absolute peak of human creation, just combining everything that we love about music into just one perfect song. The intro song to Block 13 is one of the best things I've ever heard in my entire life, with it starting off with just this really fat teacher going like, I don't know what the hell she said, but then we cut to another teacher going all like, sit your ass down, fat boy.
Sit in your seat, fat boy.
Okay, and then the kids come out, and I'm just like, yes, Hamoud Azu Saloom! Yes, come on out, guys! Come on out, Abdul! And they just start going, Block 13! Block 13!
Block 13!
Yep, that's beautiful. It's great. God, I love the intro song for this show. I thought it was just beautiful. If that ever came onto my TV in the middle of the night, I'd probably be, you know, curling my toes in excitement, shaking my feet, shivering my timbers, just being so thrilled to hear something like that. So, That was beautiful. We then cut to the boys, and they're watching something on TV. I didn't really get it. It looked like it was just like Kuwait stuff. I don't know. I couldn't really relate to it. They were watching something about how good school could be, and then the little sister, I think her name is like Fazola or something. I don't know. I didn't really look into it, and they don't say it. But she just starts going, yes, 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 yes. And so the Cartman character, Abdul, he walks over and just like does the kick the baby, don't kick the baby. But you know, that version of it, and he just blasts her away.
Wow, cool, no way, wow. That's the song that I don't like.
But she still seems pretty gosh dang happy, so that was interesting. So we then cut to all the boys in school, and they really seem like they want to learn. They want to learn so bad. So Abdul, he's staring at the teacher, and he's like, "Oh, come on, let us learn a little bit, come on." And the teacher looks him dead in the face and is like, come on, fat boy, open up those hands so that I can hit them.
Yo, fat boy, open your hands. I want to hit them.
But Mr. Saleh, I haven't done anything.
I'm like, what? You're gonna do what to his hands just for asking to learn, dear Lord? That's not good. That's not good at all. That was crazy. So then the teacher has to leave, and he has to go and talk to the principal for a while about how he needs to be a better teacher and be more caring and all that nonsense. The Cartman character, Abdul, he sees a book with a cheat sheet in it, and I shit you not, he just goes, because he has like an evil plan or some shit. That was a little bit odd. And then we cut to I think his name is Azuz being at home, and his parents are very supportive and telling him that he needs to study for school and whatnot. And we just get to go through all of the characters and through their progression of studying for a big test. Azuz was pretty just whatever. I didn't really care for it. It's just his parents being supportive. And then we go to Saloom, which is the Kenny character, and it just got so sad, like so fast. Like I don't know if it was like lost in translation, but I did not see the comedy in this scene at all. If this was supposed to be funny or just sad, I can't really tell. It's Saloom, so they're obviously a little bit poor because it's parodying Kenny, and so the mom comes over and he's trying to study on the floor, and his mom's just like, "Oh, Saloom, you know that I would help you, but I'm just too illiterate. I can't do it."
Hey baby, God is kind. If I wasn't illiterate, I would help you.
I'm like, oh no, I'm sorry. Then the father comes in and is like, "Saloom, my boy, you need to help me. You're a man now. They're gonna take our germs. You gotta come help me." And so Saloom is like arguing with the father, and they're actually talking in a pretty good, decent tone. Like, it doesn't sound like they're screaming at all or like anything is going necessarily wrong within the conversation. But then it cuts to the mom just being like, "Guys, stop. You don't have to scream at each other." And I was caught off guard. I was like, are they screaming? Is this an argument? I thought he was just asking him to do this. I didn't feel like it was that bad. But yeah, apparently he was screaming. And then, yeah, that was just depressing. So Saloom has to go and help with that and can study after. They have this weird conversation about tea, which didn't really make much sense to me. And then we cut to the character Hamoud, which is the parody of Kyle, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, I get their names confused a little bit. So Hamoud, he looks at his parents, and is the joke that he's just telling his parents what to do? I can't tell, because he just walks in and he's like, "Mom, Dad, I need to study right now." And so his parents just are like, "Oh, okay, we'll go argue in the other room." Is that the joke? Okay, so they leave, they get out of there, they skedaddle right away to let their son just study up, just study everything he could possibly need to know. Good for him. And then Abood is where stuff really gets interesting. Cartman's other character, Abood, he's sitting on his, bed, like studying up, learning his cheat sheet, and his sister is just bouncing on the bed, going, "Kuwait, Kuwait, 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 Kuwait." I don't know why. I mean, you don't really catch many children these days, well, at least, in America, at least, just sitting on the bed going, "USA, USA, USA." So, I don't know why she's doing that, but good for her. Good for her. And Abood, he gets very angry at her, very angry, and just picks her up, kicks her into the air, bounces her with his belly into a wall and knocks her out, and that's the end of the episode.
The quarterback goes for it.
Whee!
And he shoots and he scores.
That was thrilling and exciting. That was everything I needed. Honestly, this is better than anything South Park could produce. Obviously, this is better than Imagination Land. This is better than, you know, anything that South Park could make, really. This has so much more integrity. It has everything, really. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give this a solid, I don't know, like 6. I don't think it's bad. I think a lot of scenes are ultimately pointless. I mean, maybe it's just, you know, having different ideas of what is funny. But, like, that scene with Saloon was just so depressing. Like, what's funny about the mom walking up and being like, I would help you, son, but I'm illiterate. Like, I don't see the comedy there. Maybe that's funny in Kuwait. I don't know. I didn't really get it. But, you know, that's all right. And then a lot of the other jokes are just about abuse. I'm gonna hit your hands, fat boy. And, like, I like dark humor, so obviously I find that funny. But I don't know. In, like, the real world, that's not very funny. That kid's gonna get hit. So, you know, who's to say what's funny and what's not? But yeah, 6 out of 10. I thought it was interesting, to say the least. Taking a look at episode 2, this one begins with them at the bus stop, and these two guys walk over and they start harassing him like, come on, big guy, what are you gonna do? You guys are still taking the bus? You guys are taking the bus? You're such a loser. You're a loser. And Abood, he starts, like, you know, foaming, frothing at the mouth. He's ready to take him on. And they're just like, come on, big guy. Say something. Say something to us. Make us want to say something. And he just sitting there, and all of a sudden he just releases it. He goes, ah! Ah! And nothing happens. He just gets very angry, and his friends start mocking him, saying that he was never going to do anything. And he does the Cartman thing where his face gets really red.
Brave one.
And that's pretty much the beginning of the episode. They get on the bus and they say something. I guess it's funny. I don't know. It's not really that funny to me, but it's just fucking weird. Where they're like, last one to get on the bus is a mother of a baby. Like, what the fuck? What does that even entail? Like, is it so bad to be a mom having a child? Like, what the fuck kind of saying is that? That's awful. That's atrocious. Can you imagine saying that in front of a single mother, though? Like, you're just like, you see her, like, walking her baby. She's, like, pushing a shopping cart. She has one banana in it. So you obviously know, and you just sprint past her, and you're just like, ooh, I don't want to be a mother of a baby like that. Like, that's just a very interesting concept, at least to me. So, they eventually get to school, and we follow up on the plot line from episode 1, where Abood stole the black bag with the cheat sheet in it, and he's very angry, and he's just basically voicing his anger for a very long time. He's just like, I know one of you guys stole it. I know one of you guys doing something dirty and cheating a little bit like you. And he points at this one kid with glasses who is apparently the smartest kid in class, and he's like, oh no, sir, I would never do that. I'm the only one that studies around here. I care about my stuff. And then the teacher's just like, well, then you're gonna go and sit in the corner. And puts him in the corner, and he's just standing there while begging, like, please don't do this to me.
5 minutes left. Are you ready?
Teacher, I haven't done anything. How dare you?
How haven't you done anything? Don't pay your teacher.
And so he's just in there, and then everybody has to take the test, and he finds out that Abood is the one who has the cheat sheet because he's using it while taking the test. And then he starts, like, ranting for a very long time, like, I used to be with so many people, like-minded people, and now I am just an academy teacher. I'm just an academy teacher, oh! And then it shows an academy award on screen and says that he's best teacher 13 years in a row, and that's the entire joke for it. Very odd stuff going on, to say the least. I don't know. So Abood is sent to the counselor's office, and this is when we meet the Mr. Mackey version of Block 13. And it's just this, you know, hefty woman, really big, really huge, like really, really big, and she looks at Abood and she's like, cheating's bad, okay? Like, I feel like you need to understand that, Abood. Like, cheating's bad, okay? Like, oh.
But Mr. Celeste's friend used to cheat, and he succeeded. We're quiet, don't interrupt me. Oh, actually do.
You need to put everything into God, Abood. Everything into God. You're being bad. You need to be better, because cheating's bad, okay? You know, and she's great, I guess. She has a funny voice, or at least the English dub voice. They went all out with that just to make that sound unbelievably thrilling, unbelievably beautiful, something that you could cherish, something that you could hold on to and carry with you when she's just like, oh, cheating's bad, okay. Yeah, so she says that for a while, and then Abood is just allowed to be, you know, off the hook. He gets to go and live his life free, and he goes home. And I think the entire idea of this scene was that he was intercepting a phone call to home so that his parents wouldn't find out about his cheating because his sister answered the phone. And of course, he walks up and just beats the living shit out of his sister, kicks her away, and then answers the phone and is like, we don't need this information. Hangs up and then starts beating his sister even more. Yeah, you know, lots of kicking the babies. So that's some more Block 13 for you. And I don't know. I have a couple of questions of what they find funny over there, because I mean there weren't necessarily a lot of jokes told in here besides like harassment, like, oh man, this kid's really fat. he's a bonehead. He's a buffoon. He needs to go and get his cranium checked. Stuff like that. But the other stuff is just a child getting abused who didn't do anything. Just like, go stand in the corner and raise your arms above your head. No, please. You know that. And then the only other thing is just a teacher complaining about, oh God, I hate my life. I hate my life so much. Oh, you know. Like, it's not entertaining, like I'm having a decent time. It's just, you know, interesting what they focus on a lot. And, like, I can't believe that, like, this is a 9-minute episode, and it felt like ultimately they did nothing. Like, the big climax is, oh, you're cheating, oh. You know, it's just interesting. If I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it, like, a 4 out of 10. There just wasn't a lot going on. I don't know. It wasn't that great. Taking a look at episode 3 called Friday the 13th, this just gets really weird, man. This is definitely the most they've tried in an episode. They did a lot of stuff here. I was actually surprised about the budget increase. The episode opens with Abood, the Cartman character, watching a horror movie, and his mom is all like, what are you watching? It's time to go to school. And I love how they decide to do their transitions in this show, because it cuts to the sister, and she's like, Mama, I want milk!
Dude, what are you watching? You'll miss the school bus.
And then it just cuts to him going to school. Was that like supposed to be a joke transition? I don't even know. But either way, he meets up with all of his friends, and they're not speaking, and he's like, why aren't you responding? Why aren't you responding to the boss? I'm the boss! And nobody's hearing him out, nobody's listening to him, so he's a little bit concerned by that. And they get up onto the bus, and he's like, last one on is Mama! And nobody responds, and he's very confused. He's just looking around like, why is nobody saying anything to me? I don't understand. And then they're driving to school, and all of a sudden the school bus driver just turns into a wolf. Oh, yeah! What? And I just love fucking Abood's face in reaction to this. He looks like, I don't know, he looks like he just watched a school bus driver turn into a wolf. That's the best way to describe it, literally. Yeah, he's geeking a little bit. And so, he gets to the class, and they're in class, and I don't know why they didn't just switch the words a little bit, but the teacher, he's doing like a bunch of science experiments, and he's making the kids come up and drink it, and there's a scene where a character gets turned into a turtle, a goat, a crab, and in between it, he keeps having to say like really strange words like humongous or you know, homunculus, like stuff like that. And the kid that is dubbing this, I don't know if he was just doing it for fun, but it like gets to what he has to say, and he's like, okay, so then you take the homunculus. Like, why are you struggling to read it? You didn't, like, practice reading it before you decided to make a YouTube video? You're just fucking winging it? I don't know. It just seems silly to me. I thought it was funny, though. It added to it. Either way, so he's struggling, and then just at one point, it's like they didn't want to say anything anymore, so he's just like, okay, you come up to the class, and then he just starts screaming in Arabic, because I guess they didn't want to dub over it anymore. He starts screaming, and every single time the teacher laughs, it switches back to his Arabic voice actor, which I assume is doing a way better job, at least it sounds like it. So it'll just be like, okay, and then we're going to take the flask, and we're going to
Into a goat.
You know, that's what it sounds like, and I think it's a little bit funny. Obviously, I can't fault the show for this. It's just the people who decided to dub it. But either way, It was a little bit odd. So he just keeps turning them into crabs and goats and turtles. And Abood, he does not like this, so he decides to run away. His teacher, or the counselor, who is like, okay, is chasing him, but she is a big fat cow. She's running after him, chasing him real good, and he falls into the sewer. And this is where things get really, really wonky, and the budget just increases because he's falling. And we get to see so many different things. Where he's falling down and down, and it's kind of like he's falling into like a computer mainframe, and all of a sudden there's some Pokemon for no reason. I don't understand why there were Pokemon there. Haunter just shows up, and Voltob, or the one that kills itself, and I don't know, a bunch of Golem, yeah, Haunter, Golem, and Voltix, or whatever the fuck. Those 3 Pokemon, they show up, and they're there, and they just fly past him for no reason. He doesn't say anything, because all the character's doing the entire time he's falling is, ah! Ah! And then 2 kids that were bullying him in episode 2 show up, and they're wearing Men in Black uniforms, and it's a Men in Black reference for whatever reason, and they're like, oh, you see this? We're gonna make you forget your wife, your family, your mom, your dad, everything. We're gonna make you forget it all. And they just start ranting about that for a while, and then they also vanish, and then Abood is turned into 3D and starts walking around in this 3D world, and initially it's a little bit ominous because he walks up to this computer, and the computer is all like, Abood is missing. Please call the police. And then a giant hand grabs him and sucks him in. And of course, you know, because he can't say anything witty or different, he just starts going, ah! Again, for a very long time until he ends up on the moon. And then a bunch of aliens show up, and Saloom is one of the aliens, and he takes off his turban. And it's revealed that he has a disgusting face, so what the hell is Abood gonna say in response? Ah! Yep, thrilling, exciting. And then there's a giant version of his sister that appears and starts stepping on him while saying cat. Yeah, this is fucking amazing. And that happens on, and he gets stepped on, and then he wakes up, and it was all a dream, and it turns out that it actually is Friday the 13th, so are bad things gonna happen? I don't know. Who's to know? I don't know. It's quite silly. That's pretty much the entire episode. They did do a lot more interesting stuff here, so I'm gonna rank it a little bit higher. If I was to rank this 1 to 10, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10. For like animation wise, because it felt like they were really trying. Just none of it was very cohesive. Like there was no reason for Pokemon to be there. Why did the Men in Black reference happen? Why did he go to the moon? Why didn't they have him say anything? I hope in the Arabic version that he was actually saying like witty stuff like Carbon would. I hope he wasn't just sitting there fucking going ah! The entire time. But what do I know? What do I know? I think they like experimented a lot, but overall it was just fine. You know, just fine. 6 out of 10. The next episode I'm going to be taking a look at is the bus hijack, and the people dubbing this probably went as far away from what the actual creators wanted when making this, because they'll just randomly have a character say things like, my name's Jeff, my name's Jeff, and I guarantee you that the creators of this show did not initially want a character to say that, but I'm just going to roll with it for the sake of the video, and also it's very hard to find this show online, so I'm just going to roll with what's going on here. So, initially, we're watching the kids watch this show where it's just 2 guys and they're just going, oh my god, this car is so cool. Oh, it smells nice in here. And then they just start playing around and they find guns. So they go to the bus stop with the guns. How exciting is that? They just have guns, and then fucking these 2 losers walk up and they're like, oh my god, look at you fucking losers. Look at you buffoons. And that's the end of that scene. Okay, cool. So we then cut to the big woman, the big Mr. Mackey character at the grocery store, and she meets this other guy who I've never seen before, who just exists, who just appeared, and they have this confrontation, this big nasty confrontation where she walks out and she says this, and I'm saying exactly like quoted what she's saying. She says, yep, that's exactly what she says. And this dude looks her dead in the eyes and goes, damn, you're fucking huge.
Holy shit, you are a big one.
And she goes, cheeseburger. And he just goes, why are you so fucking big? You're a Mondo burger. You're huge. And they argue for a while. And then all of a sudden, this guy with a big handlebar mustache shows up holding a gun and forces them to come with them. And they go to this bus and they end up hijacking the bus. What? And it's the kids' bus. So now they're all on the bus. And it's just very weird because there's a bunch of shenanigans that shouldn't really be happening. Like, Abood, he has a gun that he had from earlier in the episode, and he starts firing it, and instead of taking away his gun, one of the, like, criminals, he just starts getting all green in the face, and he's like, this is too much pressure! I don't know if I can handle this pressure! Oh God, please stop! Yeah, it's just a little bit weird, and then there's also these guys who are supposed to be, like, the police law enforcement, and their entire joke that the people who are dubbing this decided to go on is just them calling each other and just being like, yes way, Jose! No way, Jose! My name is not Jose! Yes way, Jose! Like, they're just calling each other, and I think they're supposed to be talking about the bus hijacking. That's probably what they're talking about in the Arabic version, but here they're just like, no way, Jose! Yes way, Jose! Oh, I'm not Jose! Oh, stop!
Oh my God, they just called people murdered. They're going to murder. No way, Jose. Yes way, Jose. You see it. Look at them.
Yeah, it's just weird, to say the least. And then there's this scene where every character on the bus is really sad. They're really shaken up, so they all start crying, like, aggressively. And for some reason, they decided to put, like, shitty music over it, where they're all crying, and it's just like, in the arms of an angel. And I'm like, why? Why did you feel the necessity to include that? It just makes it sound so fucking stupid. And then fucking one of the characters points out that the villain looks like Super Mario, and they start bickering and arguing back and forth over it, just non-stop. It's like, you look like Mario. I do not look like Mario. You look like Mario. I do not look like Mario. I'm just so confused about the direction that they decided to go with this nonsense. And so one of the kids who was mean earlier in the episode, who was like, what are you fucking losers doing? He's now driving the bus, and there's a pregnant woman who's on a stretcher, and she's just sitting in the middle of the road, and they just have this wondrous conversation where they're just like, I'm gonna hit the pregnant woman, you're gonna hit the pregnant woman, I'm gonna hit the pregnant woman, and then he hits the pregnant woman. So fantastic, lovely, that was great. I guess. I don't really know the point of anything. So then they just tell everyone to stop crying, you fat fucking bitch. And then the police show up and they stop the bus, and then Mario gets out of the bus and gets in another car. And then, I don't know, the kid was having so much fun in which he, you know, is holding a rocket launcher, and he sees the Mario guy driving away, and he just starts going, I'm going to blow it up now, bazooka rocket launcher, and he fires it and shoots it and blows the car up, and that's the end of the episode. And I just have so many questions as to what I just watched. I should probably go back and watch the sub to see if this is even remotely related to what was actually going on, but I also have no desire to do that because this is just all over the place in terms of writing and comedy and what's happening, and I just don't know. The funniest parts of this episode was where the fat woman was all like, and then this guy is just staring at her and is like, you're fucking big. Like, that's just so stupid. It's so dumb. I mean, all of it is so dumb. I can't imagine the actual, like, sub being much better. I bet it was all still dumb, but I bet it was so bad that it's actually funny. So, overall, you know, not the worst time I've ever had. It's a little bit stupid, but it was fine, to say the least. So if I was to rate this episode 1 to 10, I would probably give it a solid, I don't know, 5. That's the best I could do. Block 13 is definitely an interesting show. Obviously, it's not going to be as good as South Park. South Park has way more of a budget, way more writers, just so much more time to fine-tune their craft, and has been going on for so long. This only aired for about 3 years, and they were just probably trying to make something fun. Again, I read that Q8 never really had something like this, so they could probably just make whatever they want, and people would just be mesmerized by something different, something that they don't usually see, and were probably very excited. So overall, for what it was, it's definitely not that bad, and I guarantee you if I was watching the sub, or at least if I could speak Arabic, then I would probably understand a lot more, probably get a lot more of the jokes. Obviously, the dub is going to hinder my overall enjoyment a little bit, because a lot of people like to just get very silly with it, but still, for the most part, it was enjoyable. Definitely not the best thing I've ever seen. It wouldn't even crack like the top 100 of the best things that I've seen, but for what it's worth, for it being a ripoff of South Park, it actually feels like there was some love behind it, like they were trying to do something just to make some other people happy, and that's just something that I could really appreciate. So overall, I did like that. If you like content just like this, please make sure to like and subscribe because I upload every single day. You don't want to miss it. If the content here on YouTube just isn't good enough for you, I got bonus content on my Patreon, link in the description, where you could see some gaming content, some better reaction content with live footage, and just some bonus content as well. If you want a place where you can talk about your favorite cartoons, movies, and games, my Discord will also be in the description. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.